Good evening and welcome back to Northern Maine Productions. We got a prize here. About 3 years ago, I did a video where I worked on this old motor on this machine a little bit and actually started it and ran it a little bit. So this machine came to me from my friends at RC Logging Supplies about 3 years ago. This old girl has been parked a very long time. In fact, it's been parked since I worked there in the mid 1990s. About 1996, 97 time frame, I believe, is how long this has been parked for. This machine had some kind of an issue with, I believe, the drive system. It looks to me like that the clutch is gone off from the chain case there. Now, it's possible that this may have had the old style clutch on it that wasn't the easy engagement style clutch. And we may have taken it off this and put it on another machine that was newer that was having problems. That's the way they were. Jeez. We did have some problems with those easy engagement clutches not working properly. So, yeah, I know you're asking me, what in the world are you gonna do with this whole pile? I have a plan. This machine has got the correct deck mechanism on it for my 2650. Now, what I'm gonna do is, obviously this thing's just been sitting out in my backyard here under the trees for years, and if I don't do something with this, it's gonna rust out and it's not gonna be any good at all. It's already rusted bad and it's sat outdoors for 30 years pretty near. So my plan is I'm gonna completely disassemble this machine. Whoa, my stomach's grumbling a little. Whoop. So I'm gonna completely disassemble this whole entire machine. I don't think that this machine was very worn out when it got parked. The guy just didn't want to put any more money into it. He bought a new machine. I think he bought a newer snapper machine like this, if I remember right. The guy that owned this machine lived right up the street from me here, actually. Of course, he's been dead and gone for quite a few years now. So this thing's weathered quite bad. The boots have disintegrated on that sliding, on this part of it. Jumpings are just brittle. So that's probably gonna prove to be a pain in the rear to get that apart, because this has got to slide off of the shaft. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this machine completely apart. I'm gonna separate this front section from the rear section here, where this thing actually pivots right there in the middle, right in here underneath the seat. If I take this clamp off of here and unhook the cables that go to the pedals, this front section will slide right out of there. So I'm going to take that all off of there, get the deck out of here and get this out of the road. And I'm going to take the engine off, take the seat bracket off of there, and I'm going to put that rear section up on the workbench, and I'm going to disassemble that whole friggin' differential. I'm going to take the whole thing apart and we're going to see how badly it's worn out. It's got a fair amount of slop in it, so I'm not. Yeah, that differential's got a fair amount of slop, but also appears that probably it also appears that probably the hub is loose on that axle too. So I'm going to take this whole thing, I'm going to take that whole differential apart and I'm going to see if that differential is any good. If it is good, I'm going to clean all that thing out. I'm going to clean that whole entire case out. And I'm going to get that old hardened up snapper lube out of that thing. Clean it completely out. Clean all the gears up. And for the first time in history, I'll actually put that back together and put some new snapper lube in it, which I don't know why I'm going to do that. I'm just going to, it's going to be a running experiment, I guess. But there's a lot here that's got to be inspected. This bushing over here is pretty crucial. That has to be in good shape. If that's no good, there's not much sense in trying to fix it. So a lot of this stuff is obsolete now and not available. This machine is, this is a Series 3 machine. This is a 30083 is the model number on this. So this probably dates from 1980 or 81. I'm not sure. The top cover wasn't actually on the engine, so I can't accurately date that, but that is an older engine on there. It still has the old style governor control on there, and it has points ignition in it. So, but looking this deck over here, it's a little bit rusty. You know, the deck itself is actually really straight. It's a shame that this sat outdoors for so long, because there's some rust. There's a few little pit holes right here rusted in there, and then it's a little bit thin down here where they normally rusted. But jumping's the bearings sound good in that mandrel. Now obviously the belt's off in it, and there's a bunch of stuff kind of out of whack here, but it does appear that it's still got a brake band on there, and it appears that there's still material on that, so probably the brake band will actually work on that. That would be my guess. All this will have to be, if I do this, if I go through this headache, I'm going to take this deck completely apart and I'm going to fix everything that's wrong with it if it's possible to fix it. Well, yes, the steering linkage is all apart on this, but I do actually have most of it. I think I've got all of it, actually. If I don't, that's going to be an issue. I found this part of it. Somewheres here are all the bushings and stuff that go to it, and the handlebars. I've got to round them up. I'm 90% sure I wouldn't have thrown that stuff away. It's probably all on the bottom of that crate over there beside my workbench. The handlebars might be kicking around out back somewheres. The handlebars are different on this machine compared to the 2650 or the 3081. The handlebar system is a little bit different on them, so that could pose to be a problem if I can't find the pieces to this. I had two other machines like this that were this same style, and I junked both of them and threw them away. I got all the pieces that I ever thought I'd need off of them, and I got rid of them. So the steering could, you know, there's a possibility that I may have to take this piece off from the 2650 if I do this, because probably what's going to happen is I'm going to end up taking the two machines. I'm going to take that 2650 that's all gimme gob together from all different gears, and I'm going to take that machine and this machine, and I'm going to build one good one that is based solely on this model right here. If I can, I'm going to try to put everything that's model specific back onto this. I don't know if it's possible or not. I was looking around on eBay the other day, and I'm not sure if I can actually even get parts to rebuild that 8 horsepower flathead engine. I think that I'm either going to have to go aftermarket, or I'm going to have to try to find NOS Briggs parts. I have another 8 horse engine here. My 3081 actually has an 8 horse engine on it that needs to be rebuilt, and I'm gonna look at this one and see if this one will see what this one's like internally. I don't think this engine's got a sinker balance in it. The one that's on the 3081 is a little bit newer than this one, and it has sinker balance. The good thing is, I was just noticing here, is that fender on this machine is cut out so that the 11 horse engine will fit on this machine. I had to cut that out on that old 2650 because those big 11 horse engines didn't exist back then, I don't think. But this machine, it's really bad looking, it's awful rusty looking, but it doesn't appear to me that it was really very worn out. I mean, this stuff here's got some play in it on the steering, but it ain't real bad, not at all. The deck, these pins that support the deck and raise the deck up and down don't appear to have hardly any wear in them compared to my other two machines. My 3081's wore quite a bit right in here actually, but I don't know. All I know is this is going to be, it's been a long time since I tore apart a differential in one of these, and I'm going to have to, this is going to be a refresher course for sure. I'm probably going to have to dig into the service manual on this one. But even like the shift, even this shift quadrant, these little places here are showing almost no wear at all compared to my 3081. My 3081, these are rounded right off on that. But this linkage here is pretty typical. You know, it's got some wear and tear on it. Amazingly, the plastic cover's still intact that goes on that deck. I actually still have that right there. It's all still intact. That's pretty crazy. So, well, anyways, so I get torn into this a little further, I'm sure probably I'll do some videos on it, because I'm curious to see how bad that differential's worn out. You know, obviously it was probably still working because everything still spins on it, but something happened with the back, with the drive. The yoke is gone out of that machine. As far as I think the yoke is gone out of it, and that clutch is gone out of it. So, or the mountain hub for the clutch is gone. So I'm assuming that there was some either issues with this one, or there was some issues with another machine, and we took parts off of this one. Now 3 years ago when I had this engine running on this, it did start and run pretty good. The issue with this engine is I think that it's worn pretty bad because it had a lot of carbon buildup in the cylinder. The carbon had actually dropped off of this thing from setting for so long, and it was all in a big bunch in the bottom of the cylinder, and I couldn't even turn the motor over when I first got it here. The motor would not actually turn a full revolution because there was so much carbon that it fell off of the top of the piston and the cylinder head. And when I got it started, I let it run for quite a while in here and get warmed up. We had it in the garage at one point, and I let it run for probably 20 minutes. I stuck a cover on the top of it just so it would have some coolant, and it was pretty much a duplicate of my 3081. It smoked pretty bad once it was warmed up a little bit. So this motor did sound better than the one does on the 3081 though. I think probably the synchro balance might be worn some in that 3081. I'm not sure. It's got kind of a funny little clacking noise to it when it's running, especially if you slow it down. It sounds alright when you rev it right up, but it's either the valve train or there's something worn in the synchro balance in it. But I'm looking forward to puttering away on this. I'm just going to basically blow it to a million pieces and store all the pieces and parts into some boxes here. And probably this project will get me, this will probably be a next spring project probably by the time I'm ready to reassemble it, because it's getting on into winter here and I don't need a lawnmower, and it's going to be cold in this building, and I don't really want to mess around here. Pretty soon I'm going to have to bring the snow blowers in here and get them going. So this will be just kind of a quick little disassembly project, and I'll do some inspection on it and see what it looks like, basically. But this is at the, if you remember the other day when I was showing you the thing with the deck height on the 3081 or the 2650. I'm going to set this down so I can. So the other day when I was showing, this back section of the frame is identical except for this part. And my 3081's just got the arms that come up out of here and got a shorter chain on them. This is what I was talking about. They got the eye hooks on them and this different bracket. So if I can, I'm going to try to use that style bracket on when I put it back together. That's what I want to do, because this one is adjustable and it's probably not quite as prone to wear. So anyways, that old motor looks pretty sad. Amazingly, it still turns over and it's still got good compression. That motor did sound pretty healthy when it was running, so well, I guess that's it. Another piece of junk here to work on. You all have a good one. Bye bye.